76-59-4 run with the free picks following a 2-0 sweep on Tuesday as I gave you the San Antonio Spurs to get the road win and cover at Atlanta. And I told you the Milwaukee Brewers would not go 0-7 this week. Now, they might go 1-6 because they just ain't hitting the ball. But last night they won, barely, at Miller Park against the Braves, beating them 1-0. Free selection here for your Wednesday night card. It's going to be a baseball underdog that I really like a lot. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, and this, of course, is your Wednesday video report. That free pick coming up in just a moment. First, a couple of different issues. Wanted to talk about the NFL and the strike. Now, listen, most of us, not really have to be concerned about the NFL and the strike until it gets to August and you find that your favorite players and teams are not in preseason camp, okay? Then we've got issues. But of course, today in Minnesota, it's the drama starting in a courtroom. The Players Association trying to get the lockout stopped. The NFL, of course, wanting to extend the lockout as there has been no bargaining sessions here between the two sides. I'll tell you what, I used to be a reporter, and the three things that drove me out of that business, and you would think sports, everybody says, oh, it's fun and games, it's like working in the candy department, and truth be told, listen, I cannot lie. If you love going to games, and as a reporter, if you love going to the games, the pregame buffets, hanging out with all the people you see every single night of the season, it's almost like it's like being in college again and being part of a fraternity. Because you'd see the same guys from newspaper and radio and TV guys night after night after night, especially in baseball season. Like when your team that you were covering went on a road trip, you almost missed them until they came back for the next homestand. But the three things that soured me: one, all the labor strife. Writing about legal proceedings and strikes and all that crap. My God, if I wanted to do that, I would have stayed in hard news. Number two was all the drug issues back in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, true, we do have the steroid issue now, but, a place I used to work at back at that time, we used to take every single week nominations among all the writers. We put up trading cards for the Drug and Alcohol Player of the Week, Drug and Alcohol Rehab Player of the Week. Very popular voting. Sometimes we had 5 or 6 good candidates in a week, and it was really hard to pick a winner. I mean, it almost makes you yearn for the days when Whitey and Mickey and the boys went out and got drunk every single night, doesn't it? I mean, they were the good old days of baseball. The other thing that really turned me off about it was dealing with athletes. I mean, you talk about pampered prima donnas, and remember, back at that point, let's say up until the mid-90s, they made a lot of money, but they didn't make the ridiculous sum of money that they do now. Their attitudes haven't changed, and now they're more media savvy as well. So, I mean, Jesus Christ, so many times being in a locker room and you just want to tell a guy, will you shut the F up because you're so full of you-know-what? But you can't do that because you need them to get the story, you need them to get the quote. So today I'm reading the newspaper and I'm looking here and I see that there's a NFL-owned website that says nearly 1,200 of the 1,900 players are starting to take COBRA benefits. Now, most of you out there working, you know what COBRA benefits are. It's when you lose your job for one reason or another. You're eligible, I think it is, to keep your health insurance going for up to 18 months, legal by federal mandate, as long as you're willing to pay the fees. And, some of the players that are vested, players that have been in the league for 4 years, they can draw from a fund to pay it. Other guys have to take the money out of their pocket. I'll tell you what, guys, the one thing that I know, and the one thing that I certainly realized in previous strikes, and remember, in 82 we had a work stoppage in the NFL. 87 was the big work stoppage. That one, remember, they canceled a week of the season and they had 3 weeks of the scab games, the replacement player games. Oh my God, you talk about boredom having to cover those games. I would have rather covered Pee Wee football. They were just atrocious. I mean, the owners trying to actually pretend this is real football. It reminds me of watching that movie with Gene Hackman and Keanu Reeves, The Replacements. Every time I see that movie, I keep thinking, one, the cheerleaders are never that friendly as they are in that movie, and two, it just reminds me of replacement games. But the one thing that always ends these strikes, it's money. And hey, listen, I'm sitting here, I happen to get my Blue Cross bill today, and I'm looking here at a cute little bill. Let's see, what is my $1,715. That's what my monthly insurance is. And that was a 22% increase from last year, and of course the rates get renewed in August, and something tells me that they aren't going down. So these players now have to take money out of their own pockets. I'm telling you, the thing that will get players back to the bargaining table, the thing that will make the strike ultimately collapse, is when players never have as much money as players truly need. There are a few players out there that really are set financially. You would think everybody would. Even the lesser known players, because they're making money that you and I, as regular human beings, we just absolutely cannot fathom. But ultimately, it's money that's going to bring them back to the table. I mean, listen, I'm a capitalist. You know, I come from a strong union family. I believe that everybody has a right to make as much as they possibly can. But it's like going in and negotiating for a car. You want a great deal, the salesman has to make money. Somehow you have to meet in the middle. And ultimately, it comes down to when players have to take money out of their own pockets. That's what will drive the negotiating table. And I'll tell you, you know, it's interesting in this business. I was not in the business of selling picks or anything like that in '87, but I can tell you the NBA strike of 1999, it is amazing. Now, the NBA back then, that was when you had the big Friday night doubleheaders on one of the cable networks. Was it TNT or TBS? I can't remember. I mean, the NBA was really at its peak back in those days. But the NBA, they had that strike, 50-game season it was reduced to. They didn't come back and resume action until February 5th. And it was amazing because at that point in this business, selling picks, NBA was much bigger than college basketball. But that season, because you had the middle of November until the beginning of February, the whole focus was just on college basketball. College basketball really took hold in this business. You had more games on TV because the networks were looking for something to fill their programming holes. And of course, gamblers had nothing else to bet on. We as gamblers, we gravitate to whatever we can bet on. When there's not action, we find action. Well, the action that you found during the NBA strike was college basketball. The NBA has seen a resurgence in betting action in the past couple of years, but really it's college basketball, which is the name of this game. I mean, if you were to take a total pie, and this goes for everybody that sells picks in this business as a whole. If you were to take a pie, right, 100% of that gambling community bets the NFL, and 99% of them bet college football. College basketball, especially when you get to March Madness, you're looking at about 75% of that pie is still gambling. The NBA during the regular season, maybe about 35%. Now, that number goes up here in a couple of weeks when the NBA playoffs come up, especially with the format with every single game practically being on TV. In the last 2 years, the NBA playoffs have really surprised me with the attention they've garnered from a betting standpoint. And then, of course, you have baseball, which, you know, let's say 15% of that pie that was betting in the football season still bets during the baseball season. That's how it goes. But these strikes, these guys certainly don't help their own cause. You know the NBA is going to have its own strike here next year. You know it's coming. I'm telling you now. So anyway, let's get to your free pick. I'm going to go with the Minnesota Twins as the road underdog with Carl Pavano against his former mates. You know, Pavano was practically run out of New York. I mean, they gave him the big contract, never could justify it, never could pitch practically because he was always injured. Now, he did not pitch well, obviously, in his first start this season against Toronto on the road. Gave up, 3 home runs and in just 4 innings, gave up 8 runs in the loss to the Blue Jays last Friday, 13-3. But I like the Twins here as the road dog, and a couple of reasons why. You know, last night, after being pretty much stymied by Sabathia, they rallied against 4 New York relievers, picked up 5 walks off of that bullpen, and eventually prevailed 5-4 in 10 innings. Now, true, it snapped a 4-game losing streak against the Yankees, and true, the Twins have lost 18 of the last 21 games in this series. But, by the way, they've also lost 31 of their last 38 in the Bronx. But I certainly do like them here. Pavano has always pitched well against the Yankees, 3.83 earned run average. He made me a lot of money last year riding Carl Pavano from about May on in the season. And this is as much of a play going against Freddie Garcia, a guy who I just don't think has anything left. You know, he was 1-2 in 4 starts against the Yankees against Twins last year. 5.24 earned run average. Really struggled in his final 3 spring training starts, giving up 15 hits, 10 earned runs in just 13 and a third innings. So again, I'll take the Twinkies as an underdog tonight as your free pick. Good luck, everybody, and I'll catch you again on Thursday.